an old medieval city. The bus can't go through all the pretty parts, so I don't. You know, you don't need the bus.
To walk,
it's such a small city. You can just walk in.
Super.
So what you have here is essentially a tour guide. You can put in your bag. You don't have to listen to their annoying jokes.
Super.
We are at the station right here. So you just walk straight up, take a right at the end, and in about 10-15 minutes you're in the centre of town.
Oh, so it's a small town actually.
I mean, to be honest, the only reason they call it a city is this chapel.
St. Mary's Chapel?
No, it's Great St. Mary's Church, that's just opposite. This is the King's College Chapel.
Okay.
It's the second largest in the world. So usually you should have a cathedral to call a city a city, but they call Cambridge a city because of the chapel. It's not really a city. It's pretty much a little town.
It's a baby city.
Yeah, it's tiny. It's basically Cambridge University. It's split up into 31 individual colleges, and all of the famous bits about Cambridge are the different colleges.
Are they open?
They are not open, but they don't need to be open because when they are open, you pay £10 per person per college, and you get this much closer to the buildings, but they don't actually let you inside. So you can see the architecture from the outside. It's the same on either side, and you can see everything through the gates. Like, it's, to be honest, horrible scam when they are open. You don't need to fall for that.
Right.
If you have a tour, like, so you can walk around and learn a bit about the history, and then when you want to get up close and personal, you can do the punting. That's, you know, that you don't want to fall into. That's perfect. You don't want to fall into the trap of paying to get into each college and spending like £100 and not actually learning anything about Cambridge.
That's gonna probably take a lot of time, yeah.
Yeah, exactly. So the first college you come to is called Emmanuel, just on your right. And if you flip over the page, that is the start of a self-guided walking tour here. So it'll take you about an hour to an hour and a half, and you've pretty much seen Cambridge.
Oh, that's what we want, actually. Yeah.
So if you flip over the page, you have a nice, concise bit of information on the historical context of the colleges, the architecture, the famous stories, etc., etc. 5 minutes down the road, you get to Peterhouse College, and this is where it all started. So you're looking at almost 800 years of history here. It's founded in 1284.
That's impressive, yeah.
Yeah.
That's impressive. That's
So
a lot of
like
years.
all of the other colleges.
A lot of students, isn't it?
Yeah. So yeah, it's completely shaped everything, but because it's not a massive tourist one, nobody ever sees it, but it's probably the most important, so it's definitely a good one to see. Just up there from there is Queen's College, one of the more famous ones. You have the Mathematical Bridge, which is one of the most famous bridges in the country. Yeah, so it's rumoured to be designed by Isaac Newton. Obviously that's a load of rubbish, but nonetheless it's a very famous bridge.
Queen's College,
Queen's College is really beautiful. It's where Stephen Fry studied in the Castle Monty Python. It's a lovely
Python,
college.
yeah. I saw the movie.
From D, guys, it's just a straight line up, and you hit up all of the most famous landmarks in the city. So you have Corpus Christi. Stephen Hawkins designed this solid gold clock shortly before he died. King's College, where you have the second largest chapel in the world. Really lovely.
Which is the first one?
The Sistine Chapel in the Vatican City.
16th.
Oh, wow.
Okay.
Yeah.
Interesting.
It's a lot more impressive than this, but this is still one to nice one to see.
It's in a university campus. So
Yeah, exactly.
That makes me make it more interesting.
Yeah. Just opposite the chapel, you have the Great St. Mary's Church. This is where Stephen Hawkins had his funeral, where my parents got married when I was little. It's a really, really beautiful church, and especially on a day like today, it's a nice place to just go and cool down for a bit. You can climb to the top of it and have a 360 view over Cambridge.
You can see the whole city.
Yeah. So that's really nice and quite cheap to do. So the one exception to the college that's being closed is Trinity. Trinity, the side entrance is open, so you can actually walk around that. I mean, we probably shouldn't be telling people about this, but yeah, it's always open. So
Just to us, yeah?
Yeah, exactly. So Trinity is the wealthiest college in Cambridge. It's actually worth £1.6 billion, which is ridiculous, but it is very, very pretty. So it's definitely.
What is that? The budget? 1.6 billion.
So it's how much it's worth. It owns more land than most people. It's the third largest landowner in the country. So they own land